Welcome back to DSP versus the Internet, episode 64. We are in the submissions tier of videos, and since I want to watch as many as possible, let's jump right in. Here we go. What's next? Oh, it's another lazy game review? Well, you know what? We already watched a lazy game review video, only it wasn't a video like this. It was food. Let's say that's enough lazy game reviews for this week, but I will urge this person, if you want to resubmit, it just was a bad week because we happened to watch a video of his already. I would like to watch this in the future, okay? But we'll skip it for this week only because kind of unfair to watch two of the same thing. Okay.
Ah, the good old iBook G3 clamshell. But I don't remember them smelling this much like vinegar.
Ugh.
And yeah, a lot of old electronics are starting to die. So let's talk about that.
I own quite a bit of old tech, and periodically I power up these devices to see if they were still functional. This iBook has developed vinegar syndrome, where the layers of the display literally begin to break down, forming a rock-hard substance that feels like concrete, and according to my brother, smells like the furniture section in Harvey Norman. I think it smells very strongly of vinegar personally, but does this display still work at all? Remembering that this very iBook had a near perfect screen up until very recently. Well, it still displays an image with horrible imperfections, but also doesn't seem to be able to read the hard disk anymore. But is this something installing a clean version of macOS can fix? And when checking in the disk utility of the macOS installer, it no longer detects the drive at all. In fact, you can hear the hard disk making a very distinct clicking sound.
Oh, God.
Some call it the click of death. This is a real shame, as removing the hard disk from one of these Macs is a very time-consuming process. With newer iMacs, for instance, getting access to the failed hard disk requires the painstaking removal of the taped-on display panel, a very delicate procedure. And if you're desperate, you could try simply tapping the hard disk to get it unstuck. This actually worked in this case. After the iBook was not even detecting the hard drive, it was now booting from it, all thanks to a solid flick of my finger. So this Mac is still functional, albeit with glaring cosmetic defects. I've also had success getting an ancient laptop hard disk working again simply by opening it up and moving the platters, which got it spinning once more. This stuff doesn't clean off either. It's simply the top layers of the display literally breaking down. This was stored in a cool, dry place as well. Only a matter of time before this happens to more and more iBooks, sadly. But this kind of display damage isn't just limited to the clamshell iBooks.
I was going to say, like, for me, in recent years, I've told you guys about this, where I have had electronics just kind of like in storage. Like I had old game pads from PS3, PS4 era, just sitting in storage in my closet. I'm not touching them. It's dry, right? It's not wet. It's not super humid or anything. And then when we were going through the closet for the closet clean out a couple of years ago, we're looking at like, oh God, they disintegrated. The rubberized components just over time, they don't last. They literally melt and fall apart. The PS5 controller that I threw out recently, the whole left thumbstick just melted. And I'm not even using it. It sat right there on my stand for a year untouched. So, I mean, what it is that these things are made of, like, for example, that iMac display was not made of glass. If it was made of glass, it probably would be perfectly fine. But it was made of a lighter component, a component that sadly degrades and decomposes over time. These things are not made to be forever. And it sucks because what about people who want to save them for historical purposes or, you know, posterity? How do you when they're literally designed to decay? I think he's probably going to show more stuff like this.
Newer Macs are also suffering. This late model iBook G4 has what appears to be mold forming under the display coating, which will only get worse as time goes on. I've also noticed the edges of my first generation MacBook Pro have started to turn yellow. Not only that, the aluminium palm rest is suffering from what I can assume is galvanic corrosion. The material must have been acting as a sacrificial anode to the stainless steel watch band of the original owner. And while we're talking about laptops, I made a very successful video on an IBM ThinkPad from 1994. The display at the time wasn't very good quality, but it was at the very least undamaged. However, now it's cracking and bubbling at the surface really badly. It looks as if the top layer is separating, which is a real shame. And unfortunately, the display doesn't seem to show any signs of life anymore. Not even the backlight has any functionality.
Damn. He reviewed it and it died since he reviewed it. That sucks.
Consolation is the fact that the laptop itself does work minus the built-in display, and as a headless laptop, this is still pretty cool. The next failing tech I'd like to show you are the melty boys. The rubberized casing of these phones have degraded to the point of a sticky mess, strong enough to pick one of the other ones up.
See what I mean? Like, it's these rubberized components that they put on things over the years. They say, oh, it's easy, it feels soft, it's good on your hands. It literally melts. That's exactly what happened to the thumbsticks of my controllers. They just melt.
Sadly the fate most rubberized products will eventually face. It's even worse when the rubberized portion covers the entirety of a laptop.
Wow.
It was a hugely time-consuming job to remove all of this and make this notebook no longer sticky to the touch. But it's not just rubber that's the problem. Plastics that become brittle can lead to complete failures of some devices. A single tiny plastic part rendered this PowerBook Duo dock completely useless until I had fixed it. Lots of moving parts, primarily plastic, is a recipe for disaster.
Yep.
A problem that plagues many old Apple computers is their heavy use of plastics. This Power Mac 9500 has almost completely disintegrated with much of the casing snapped off.
Broke.
What's left is basically just the internals without the bottom part. It's literally falling apart with next to no effort. Sadly, this machine's frame is held together with plastic as well.
Wow.
I can only imagine how badly damaged one of these would be if you tried to ship it. But it is a real shame, as I would love to have a complete one of these again, one that's not disintegrating ideally. Thankfully, Apple moved away from this obvious...
It just goes to show that these human engineers who make all this technology just don't give a shit about the future. They only care about immediate profits, immediate use. They don't give a crap if in a few years you can even use any of your stuff. They just want to make the sale now and then move on. Why the hell would you design a computer to be made of plastic? Everyone knows plastic goes brittle and breaks over the years. That is so stupid.
Attempt at cost cutting with future models. While this PowerBook Duo laptop is still functional, even with the horrible display, which may have actually been this bad back in the 90s,
primary batteries in a lot of electronics are starting to swell and leak as well.
Well over 10 years ago, I placed one in a metal filing cabinet, and yeah, it isn't looking too good anymore. Now imagine all of this making its way through a laptop or computer. If you can, store your laptop batteries outside and away from the laptop, being sure to charge them to around 80% every 3 to 6 months. Good battery care can get you pretty far. My 2012 MacBook Pro has over 1,500 cycles used and an impressive 88% health. Dominic on Facebook posted the results of a max PRAM battery leaking in a machine he opened up. Truly devastating results. I have a Macintosh Classic lying around as well, so let's see if it still has its PRAM battery, shall we? It also appears to have a failing analog board, sadly. We'll get to CRTs and their failings later in the video. In earlier Macintosh models such as the 128K and the Plus,
Alright, I think we've seen enough of this. We get the gist of it. That basically tech is not designed to last. That rubberized shit is what gets me. The rubberized stuff, it's meant to melt. Anything you have that has a rubberized feel to it is going to melt. My mouse, the sides of the mouse are rubberized, and right now they're okay, but eventually this will become sticky and melt, and there's nothing you can do about it. So why design it that way? Why design tech to have things that's going to just decompose? Anyway, next one could be interesting. I don't know what it's going to be. YouTube versus real life. Oh boy, what is this?
Welcome to Inform Overload, the show where we take the top trending topics on the internet and then make them more entertaining. I'm your host.
4 years ago, 254,000 views, 10 YouTubers that are mean in real life. I wonder how far I'll get in this video, quite honestly. I don't know. I don't know if we'll actually get too far in it. Let's see.
It's Johnny Rogers, aka the Bacon Overlord, and to never miss another exciting video, click that subscribe button and ring the bell to join our notifications.
I'm not doing that. Let's just get right to it. Okay.
In at number 10, Nicole Arbor. Nicole Arbor, a self-proclaimed stand-up comedian and YouTuber, posted a video back in 2015 called Dear Fat People. The video has since been viewed over 14 million times. Nicole garnered a ton of hate for this video, as she should. There are a bounty of polite ways to tell someone that they should take better care of their body, especially if you have a concern for their overall health and well-being. That being said, it's still something that requires a private and sometimes sensitive conversation. Nicole, on the other hand, bears almost no shame for spouting hatred in such a general way, while at the same time looking like the mean girl in a High School Musical reboot. Just taking a look at her YouTube page, every single title is meant to stir up some shit. So I highly doubt that this is just her online persona. You know what they say, if it looks like a duck, swims like a duck, and quacks like a duck, then it's probably a duck. In at number 9, Adam.
Now wait a minute. He didn't show any evidence at all. What? He didn't. What was the point of that? He literally didn't. I thought what this was going to be is like, so here's a YouTuber that maybe looks good online, but then here's how they act in real life. Oh, here's a report where they went to a restaurant and they acted like an asshole or they got arrested for doing something. He literally didn't show anything at all. He just said, oh, probably she's mean in real life. What? All right, let's watch another one. If the whole video is like that, we're not watching it. Seriously.
Adam Blompaid. Adam is a 32-year-old British YouTuber that had his own channel about pro wrestling. From there, the channel What Culture hired him onto their team, and he basically ran their wrestling video department. He was the face of a majority of their content, even having video titles with his name in it. You don't just do that unless you draw people in. You'll never see my name in a YouTube video title for at least another 5 years. With this sudden growth in popularity, Adam unfortunately used it to exploit his fans. This can all be found in his apology letter as well. I read it out, but man is it ever long. Essentially, he asked his fans to send him nudes and would say that he and his girlfriend had an open relationship, which just makes me think of Ross from Friends.
We were on a break! Oh my God, if you say that one more time, I'm gonna break up with you.
We were on a break. They were not in an open relationship though, and sure he did apologize, but man, the damage to whether or not you're known for being nice or mean, it's kind of been done, and we're kind of leaning that he's sort of a mean and manipulative kind of guy for doing this, even if he apologized. In at number 8.
At least that one had some evidence, but I think this is kind of stupid. I don't know if I like this video at all. We'll do one more and then we'll probably move on to the next video. I don't really like
Freaks. I really just can't even believe this guy. His real name is Gregory Chisholm, and he's a single dad raising 2 daughters on his own. I'm sure he was asking himself at one point, well, I only get 1 hour with them every other Sunday thanks to a court order. How should I spend this time with them? I know, I'll make them help me with my YouTube page. And so he did. He constantly pranked his kids, almost harming them in the process, and he made them act like babies and do things that babies do. I mean, imagine being 10 years old and your dad's like, hey hun, dad's gonna need you to put this pacifier in your mouth, go on, step in that diaper, and I'm gonna get my iPhone and we're gonna let millions of people watch you poop yourself on camera. Alright, everybody in, Toy Freaks break, yay! And YouTube eventually kicked him off the platform because they believe the videos may have caused severe psychological damage to his kids. Yeah, this guy is mean, no question. In at number 7.
Alright, that's enough. I really don't want to watch anymore. I mean, these despicable people, right? In fact, we have about 10 minutes left in this video. I think what I want to do this week, here's something I want to do a little different. For the last video of the week, I want to look at the list and pick the videos I'm interested in. I think I want to do that for the last half hour of the show. But in the meantime, let's go through maybe a couple more here for this part. What's next?
What do you consider cheating?
I play Call of Duty.
Oh boy, here we go.
And I hear men on Call of Duty all the time. So if my man's playing Call of Duty with another female, I consider that cheating.
But she just said she plays with other men, so she's cheating too.
What's considered cheating?
Existing in any room with a man.
So what is bros girl supposed to do? Evaporate anytime a man enters a room?
Oh my god, this is terrible TikTok shit, right? It is. You can tell this is a TikTok video. This is, one guy did a video where he walked around interviewing people about what do you consider cheating and tried to get ridiculous responses. Then this guy is doing a commentary on top of that video. Ugh. It's like someone's pooping in my ear. Right? Like, that's so bad. In fact, you know what? Let's just find some good videos to watch at this point. Why celebrities hate GMOs. My own review of YouTube beta channels. Remember that? This is when they changed YouTube for the worse, and I was so pissed because they ruined my channel page. I remember that. Here's the thing. Do you know what GMOs are? Genetically modified foods? There are people who swear that you should eat organic. And remember, we've had that discussion on this show about eating organic. I think he's going to debunk that. And I want to watch that one, but it's 13 minutes long, and I want to split the part soon. Let's see if we can find, like, a short video just to watch before we split the part. If the news were honest. All right, let's watch this. See what this is. Horton hears some news.
Good evening. I'm Roger Horton.
And I'm Rachel McRachels.
Welcome to Channel 3 to Horton Here's Some News.
Our local newscast aims to keep you almost informed, informed a little, and not informed at all at the same time.
We'll tell you about the gang-related shootout.
Or the space heater fire that killed an entire family because they didn't have enough money to afford central heating.
All to instill fear and keep you watching. Speaking of impending doom, this is a story we push on our viewers because we're a bad news biased company. That means about 87% of our stories focus on the negative parts of your life that can really rile you up, even if they are something you literally can't control. Like the series of natural disasters headed your way. Sure, any sane person could categorize this as seasonal rain, but we'll be sure to scare the living shit out of you with reporters standing in raincoats, all of whom will reference potential mudslides that'll never occur.
Okay, now that I will say something. Why the hell, whenever there's bad weather coming, do they fucking put reporters out in the bad weather in raincoats to report in the rain? You told us it's there. We believe you. Why the fuck are you out there in the storm? It's sensationalism, right? That makes no sense. Get the fuck in. You can't report looking through a window. Look, there it is. No, I have to be standing in the fucking awful weather, putting myself at personal risk to create drama for the channel. News is pretty fucked in that regard. They'll always focus on the most extreme, the most ridiculous, and act like that's the norm. And then they'll sensationalize it so they'll keep talking about it for weeks on end, right? Like, to give you some perspective. Anyone remember the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, right? Now, was it a notable trial because it was two celebrities going at it in court? Yes. Did it really have any impact on anyone in greater society whatsoever besides those two people? No. Then why the fuck was all the news about it for like a month when it was going on? Was there nothing else on Earth that affected anyone else? No, but, sensationalized that, dramatized that. And now it's over. Does anyone even remember it, talk about it? No. But that was the biggest thing, right? So what they should have done is they should have reported on the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial while outside in the middle of a rainstorm. Now, that would have gotten them the desired effect, I feel, right? Let's watch a little bit more of this, and then we'll probably split the part and get to our final part for the week.
We'll also mix in a puff piece about a local animal shelter. We'll show you emaciated pets who need forever homes, so you feel guilty enough to purchase a bunch of feral cats. Not to mention, all these pets can be adopted from our sponsor, the Society for Old Dogs that no one wants to take home, but will die if you don't adopt one.
This next story is going to take a very particular stance on a pseudo-socio-political issue. So I have this empty but very particularly scripted line given to me by corporate. So just trust me when I say the sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. This is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
That's great. Yes, there's only fake news on social media, right? There's no way it could possibly have a skewed story on like a mainstream television show. They would never have an agenda on CNN or Fox News. Only when you're on social media do you get those takes, right?
So true.
Of course.
These phrases work to slander any political party or policy. So if you listen the right way, you'll think we're on your side. And if you happen to change the channel at the right time of day, you'll hear some other anchor utter the same exact pre-written lines given to us by HSBS, Horton Syndicated Broadcast Systems, which owns nearly 200 stations in 100 markets. Take that, Murdoch. And if you, God damn it, the prompter, can you bring that back? Jesus, I would have read that right if the prompter. Now, if the story is deadly enough, involves a celebrity, or contains exclusive surveillance video that's too disturbing to show, we'll usually toss to our reporter live on the scene. Preferably, we like our reporters to be live at scenes that are at least a day old, so that there's a zero possibility of any action occurring.
In fact, looks like we have one of those stories right now.
That's right, Rachel. After a cool wipe of a graphic that says live whooshing across your screen, me and Rachel will appear in what the industry calls a double box.
We're in one box while our reporter, Edward Barnes, is in the other.
I think our viewers get the concept, Rachel.
Roger, our viewers don't understand basic concepts. Why do you think they're watching?
I'm not sure anyone's watching.
Now Roger and I will take turns introducing Edward's story, which in theory is only meant to tease it, but our producers would rather us tell the entire thing in the intro, leaving Edward with nothing new to add.
2 days ago, a violent home invasion, murder, homicide, bloodbath, deadly shooting occurred at the corner of Fuck Around Avenue and Find Out Boulevard in the city.
Fuck around and Find Out Boulevard.
Lovely area. A total of 4 people were killed in an attempted robbery, and we're told 4 of those poor souls were the sons of a single mother who lived at the house. So far, police have made 0 arrests, unsurprisingly, and we have 0 reason to bring this story to you again, other than to rehash those exciting gory details we've already explained to you for the past 2 days.
Our underfed, underpaid, useless field reporter, Edward Barnes, has been standing by for the last half hour, patiently waiting for his turn to talk. I'll finish his intro by asking him a pointless question like, "What's new in the investigation tonight, Ed?" While we wait for the toss to make it all the way to Edward's earpiece. It's always a lot longer of a delay than you'd expect or want. Edward.
Yeah, this is gonna take a while.
Yeah, always.
Remind me to tell you something racist later. That's right, Roger. Now, I could just stand here and tell you there's nothing new to report tonight, but instead I'll tell you that police are still searching for the suspect, even though I have no clue if that's true or not. Next, I'll take a step back and show you the house where this atrocity occurred. Yep, it's still there. Then I'll toss to some recorded video where I'll go over all of the details you just heard the anchors read. Back to me live, where I will attempt for the 4th time today to knock on the mother's door to see if she's still sure she doesn't want to go on camera to discuss her dead children. Oh darn, guess she's not there. I'll close by saying we'll stay on top of this story for you and bring you more information when we have it on air and online, even though I'm almost done with my shift and won't care about this tomorrow morning.
All right. Well, that was interesting. A little, I would say a little, the writing wasn't as good as I would like, and the acting was a little off, but it serves its purpose, and it's true. The news is so stupid, but the way that they report stuff makes no sense. There's always, here's a montage of stuff that doesn't add anything to the story. Here, we'll show a fucking ambulance driving by and everything. Like, huh? All you're doing is you're saying the same story you said for the last 3 days. If there's no updates, then don't tell me, right? That's very weird. Okay, anyway, that's a good place to split the part. And then for our final part, there's 1 or 2 videos there I saw that I absolutely want to select. So, thank you guys for watching episode 64 of DSP versus the Internet, and I will see you in the final part.